Yeah.
Right. We are actually live now. Me and you were just talking to each other now.
So that solid gold I just been spouting off.
That solid gold that we just the key to unlocking the entire DigiTech GCSE that we just revealed then has been completely behind the curtain.
Nobody heard that.
Somebody here who's got a brain like cotton wool today. Honestly, I feel like there's no word. I don't know the word in Welsh. I forgot to press go live. You're right. We're live now. So
don't worry about it, Tom. Don't worry about it. We all make mistakes.
I'm making a lot of them today.
I need to close my door as well. So hang on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, the secret to unlocking the entire DigiTech GCSE has been revealed behind closed doors, but hopefully you should be here. Mostly because I made a mistake with allowing Outlook to automatically make a Teams meeting, which should never have existed. It should always be at the YouTube link. So hopefully everybody's there now.
Yeah. So so today we are jumping in with drawing within Animate, because we touched on it last week when we created our first scene, but there's much more to it, and we're going to be looking at the drawing modes within Animate, which can cause some confusion, but there's some fun to be had there. And then we're going to look at symbols and how we can be smart in the way we use symbols, and basically use symbols as a way to keep our main timeline as neat and as minimalistic as possible, because that main timeline can get very messy pretty quickly if we're not clever about it.
I can totally
yeah. So, and I tell you what, Dom, I didn't mention last week at all. Is I forgot to thank you for sorting these sessions out, because I've been getting a load of emails from folks that have been watching it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, thanking us.
Why not me? Where do I get them?
I don't know, because I suppose if you watch the sessions, people don't particularly think you're doing much.
How rude! How rude! But very true. Also at the same time.
But it genuinely, these wouldn't happen if you weren't holding me to account to it every week. And
I was extremely insightful and thought that it was needed at desperate times.
Yeah. So I do want to thank you for sorting this out.
Hey, look, it's getting it on the road. I wish we'd done it sooner.
So and I suppose thank Adobe through you for funding it, because
I don't thank Adobe, just thank me. That's better.
Okay, just on then. That's fine. Yeah. Last week, in our rush to get off, because we went over time, I didn't tell anyone how to save this project or where to save it. We just said goodbye. So are you on my slides now, Dom?
I am right now, yeah.
Oh yeah, and just for you to know, I haven't got a second screen this week. Because I think that distracted me too much last week. I was looking at it all the time. So I can't see, sorry. So so if we're on the slides, just a reminder, guys, that when your students are saving this project off, it needs to go into that specific animation files subfolder within the evidence folder within the root folder. Okay, so as you can see there, I've put a big arrow next to where that should have been saved. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
I think the arrow is pretty clear. Yeah, I think so. If you pop back to my screen, Dom, my laptop screen, great.
Give me 1 sec. Yeah, we've got Animate up.
Yeah. So this week's links that Dom will be emailing out to everyone after the session. And if you're watching this back later, please do follow the link under the video so that Dom gets you on the mailing list, because what's going to be sent out this week is that folder structured as a PDF, because I think that's quite handy maybe as a handout as well to your kids. So I wanted to kind of pull that off the slides and give it to you as a PDF. The more switched on amongst us may notice this. This is an additional folder that wasn't on the original diagram. So on one of the scenarios, it says about putting the HTML files in a HTML folder. So I've just adjusted this section here. It doesn't really affect us so far because this is to do the website, which we haven't even got to yet.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Also in that link is this a requested feature last week? So last week, when we were discussing the development log and the storyboard, as you remember. Now we're not looking at storyboard or anything to do with the development log this week. But if you remember, I had that scribbled out version in my
you
notebook.
wrote that up. That is nice of you.
That's the kind of guy I am. So here it is. All right. So
never expected it of you.
So no, I know I surprised myself, to be honest. So this is basically, everything you need in that development log broken down. This is how I break it down task by task.
Oh, he's frozen. He'll come back, I'm sure. Meredith.
For my students. So I've got things like the problem solving doc and a breakdown of what I'm going to be putting in that problem solving evidence. So 8-ish, because that's what's in the exemplar. 8-ish problems whilst animating, feedback on each problem, the solution on each problem, and then like a token gesture screenshot showing that it's been solved. And then it goes on as well then through the website design. Okay, so, and then you can see here, this kind of echoes then the website problem solving. Only 5 of those. There were fewer website problem solving evidence than animation in the exemplar. So I think I'm going to follow the same kind of pattern. Yeah, and so that's there as well. Okay, so when Dom sends out the links, make sure you're on the mailing list, and you'll get hold of those.
Yeah. And what I do is I just stack them up so that you get all of the previous ones as well, just so you've all got them all in a nice place.
Yeah, brilliant.
Those Friday nights around a roaring log fire.
I've also got a proper gimme here. This is a nice little freebie, a cheeky one. Okay, so I think I know. I haven't spoken to you about this, Dom, but I've had a few people email me about this. Is going back to Unit 3, so sorry to muddle our units up. But going back to Unit 3, a few people contacted me about, do I use some kind of tracking document? How do I track progress and in Unit 3? Because the mark schemes are banded rather than tick box. Yes, they've got the mark. So we'll also be sending out this link. So this is my tracking spreadsheet for Unit 3. Yeah, so I have anonymized names on the left, obviously, and then I've got the breakdown of my Unit 3, A1 tasks, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Everything's marked out of 4 because we basically have to put them into 4 bands. So basically 4 is the top band. And then this will work out, if you give somebody 4 across, then they'll end up getting 9 out of 9 for section A1 on the spreadsheet.
You've got all your formulas in.
Oh, yeah, a bit of conditional formatting. Love that stuff.
Oh, bring me a pivot table any day of the week.
So then, and then these 2 are marked out of 6 just because that section A2 is marked out of 6. Sorry, I'm going to move on quickly because this is a bit boring. But
I must say, from an outsider's point of view, like all of the kind of stuff around actually getting stuck into the programs, it's absolutely bananas.
Yeah, it's classic though. There's always a lot of boring stuff to do around the fun stuff. Section C is the actual video itself. So what I've done here is I've broken this down. So it's marked out of 25, as you can see there. So what I've done here is basically kind of broken it down. So this is I really want to echo, this is not WJC would probably hate, they probably hate this, okay? And I wouldn't be a slave to this mark either. I think it just helps you get into the right kind of mark band and get your head in
focus.
Yeah. So so have they selected good clips? Mark out of 4. Have they cut those clips well, timing wise? Mark out of 4. Good use of text overlays, transitions, video effects, music. Is there a logo? Voiceover, sound effects, and then this is just a professionalism out of 4.
Classic Meredith Jones.
Yeah, and then it'll just pump out a mark for you out of 25, And then these final sections here then are the evaluation section. So evaluation part 1, part 2, and then D3 is the actual refinement log that they work on throughout.
Right.
And again, those are marked out of 4, and that'll give you an average. That's only out of 5 anyway. So 4.
Mr. Jones, I'm going to move you on because I know what you like. You love these things.
You are
love
bored.
telling everyone about it.
Oh, you're bored
Get
of my
on the bloody session, will you?
All right. Okay.
We've got
Sorry.
50 minutes left now.
Sorry.
If you waffle on like that, we'll be here till 7 o'clock. Come on.
I got really excited there as well. I know. Okay, here we are. We're on Animate. So, if you switch over to the slides, please.
Done.
So remember that we're on the fake scenario, Camp Cymru. So today we're going to be looking at drawing modes. Now, this is something that I love, but I think can be a bit scary. So we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on drawing modes in Animate today. Basically, in Animate, when you're drawing, you've got 2 modes. You've got merge mode and object mode. So object mode is probably what you'd expect it to behave like when you're drawing with these drawing tools. And then merge mode is a bit peculiar.
We were talking about this at the end, weren't we?
Yeah, exactly. And I think you really need to know which mode you're on. And then once you're really aware of which mode you're working on, and that you choose the mode you wish to work on, then everything makes more sense. Okay, so I've basically got a kind of side-by-side comparison here of merge mode and object mode. Okay, so if you think of your layer, either on your main timeline or within a symbol, as we were doing last week, if you're using merge mode when you're drawing, you're actually kind of drawing straight onto the layer itself. Okay, so imagine
we didn't necessarily think that was the best thing, did we?
Yeah, well, it's horses for courses, really. So imagine that you're drawing straight onto your whiteboard in your class, a normal whiteboard now, an old school one with a pen. So if I draw a black circle and fill it in on my whiteboard in my class, on my wall behind me here, and then I draw another black circle overlapping that first one, then obviously I've drawn those on. That's just one kind of figure of 8 shaped blob. No, it's no longer 2 circles. I can't remove one circle because I've kind of drawn them over each other. They overlap each other, and it's all just part of what's on my whiteboard. So if you compare that with Dom, you must remember acetate sheets on the overhead projector.
Oh, remember them well.
Yeah. So if you imagine that you now draw your black circles on acetate sheets, okay, on 2 acetate sheets, and you just, blue tack those onto your whiteboard, you can overlap those circles and they look exactly the same as the other version, but I can actually move the acetate sheets separately because they're not just one big conjoined blob. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
which is the one that you prefer to use?
Well, it depends what you want to do, really. Most of the time, I'd say you'd be drawing in object mode, where you like the acetate sheet. So everything you draw is in its own little box, or kind of
more like intuitive, maybe.
Yeah. It's more like what you're used to draw if you're drawing on, PowerPoint or something like that. That's how things behave. Yeah. That separate things move independently. But sometimes when you want to be creative, you're going to need to use merge drawing modes as well. Right, yeah. So we're going to have a look at that tonight. Okay. So you can see there the kind of breakdown of them. So one thing to note, as you can see down the bottom there, that's how you can tell which mode you're on, is underneath the color picker on the left-hand side and on your toolbar. Mm-hmm. You've got this little button, and I wish it was really obvious when object drawing mode is on or off.
It's not that obvious, is it?
But yeah, it's the most.
It kind of is. You sort of highlight the background, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the most subtle thing possible. When it's on, it kind of gives you a light grey frame around the button. Yeah. Considering the effect that little button has. I wish it was kind of big and shiny, but there we are. Okay, and to note as well, if you're looking for it right now and you can't see it, that button doesn't appear unless you've got a drawing tool selected.
Yeah,
Okay?
I noticed that just now. Yeah.
So if you pop back over to my laptop now, then Dom, please.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see down the bottom here, I can see that button now. Okay, it's there, and at the moment, object drawing mode is off. And then if I click on it, it gives me that light grey frame, which means object drawing mode is on. It's the most subtle on and off you'll ever see.
Mm-hmm.
But if I went to the selection tool, then that button isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, and that can be a bit off-putting, but really it does make sense because I can't draw with the selection tool. So
Yeah.
I can't have a drawing mode if I'm not able to draw anything. Okay, fine. So let's go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at those modes first of all, okay? And we're going to have a bit of fun with merge drawing mode first of all, the one that's maybe a bit funnier. So I'm going to create a new symbol. So I'm going to go up to the insert menu, new symbol, okay? And I'm going to call this beach ball. Okay, now then, for 99% of our symbols, they are going to be graphic symbols, even if we're animating them. Okay, some people I think are they think if something's going to move, it must be a movie clip, but we can animate movement within graphic symbols as well. So, and movie clips behave in a weird way where when you play back your animation, it won't actually play it unless you test your movie. So I never use movie clip symbols. I can't see the point of them. Maybe somebody's screaming at me online or what the point is, but I can't work out something that I need to be able to do where I'd need a movie clip symbol rather than a graphic symbol. Okay. Right. And then the only time we're going to use button symbols, obviously, is when we create buttons near the end, when we do the navigation. So I think I'm going to, I'm pretty sure that everything I'm going to be doing in this entire animation is going to be a graphic symbol. Okay. So I got beach ball, and it's a graphic symbol, and I click OK. And remember, it just gives us kind of this blank, it's an empty page with fresh layers. So we are now inside the beach ball symbol. Okay, so what we're going to look at is what can be cool about merge drawing mode. Okay, so are you doing this as well? Are you having a go, or are you just?
I am. Yeah, I'm on. I've started the symbol. And one of the things I wanted to say was we were talking about how that cross in the middle is actually the top left. But wasn't there a way of like cropping the screen so you can see that, or?
Yeah, no, that's only when you're actually out on your main animation on the actual main timeline stage. Right. You've got this icon here, clip content outside.
That was it, yeah. I was clicking it and it wasn't working. I was like,
yeah, but when you're inside a symbol, basically a symbol can be any size you want.
Right, so it's not going to give you that.
Which actually brings me on to your point, Dom. You text me this and I didn't answer you because I do that sometimes. And you sent me a really interesting message. You said, would they be able to then just draw a massive piece of scenery as one big symbol and then kind of zoom in on separate parts of that scene for their different scenes? And do you know what? I'd never thought of actually doing it like that before, but yes, they could. But
I just wondered whether it might be like, because having loads of symbols, well, maybe if you could just drag the individual parts of it in, then it might work. But
so the answer is yes, that could work. That could work quite well, really. Unless, of course, you're mixing kind of indoor and outdoor scenes, then that becomes an issue. But yeah, you could.
I mean, that comes down to the planning, doesn't it? Because I imagine that the mark scheme, although there would be points for style and stuff like that, just having like a functioning, nicely made piece is enough to get all the marks you need in the mark scheme. Maybe like if you create one kind of scene and just zoom in on different parts, then I don't know, maybe it's just less pieces to keep in your head. I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely could. I think it depends how you think of things, really. Whether that kind of one big piece of scenery,
it might get a bit unwieldy, mightn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, so but it was an interesting thought. that I hadn't thought of. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
teach us the gospel, and then we can always break it down, can't we?
Yeah. Right. Let's go for beach ball. So I'm going to change my rectangle tool to an oval tool. Okay, and then I don't think I want an outline for this. So I don't want a stroke. So in my color picker, I'm just gonna change the color of the stroke to transparent. Okay. Now my fill color is gray at the moment. That I'm going to be changing it later, so that doesn't bother me. Okay, so I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to draw a perfect circle. Okay, and I should have reminded you of this before. I am currently in merge drawing mode. Yeah, object drawing mode is off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Now then, I'm going to draw another circle next door to it, overlapping it. Oh, actually, it doesn't even need to be overlapping. I'll just draw it next door here. Okay, so I got two circles which are the same color. Yeah. So now, with my selection tool, if I just drag the smaller circle and overlap it onto the bigger circle and click away.
I'm saying this.
And click away. Those are no longer two separate circles.
This is the kind of thing that would just destroy your mind, wouldn't it, if you didn't understand it?
Yeah, but, you know,
Kind of did mine.
if I'm undoing this, right? Imagine that I'm not drawing a beach ball and I'm drawing a teddy bear. Okay. So let me just duplicate that here. Okay. And then I'm going to go and put one there, one there, click away. And that now is a bear's head as one solid shape. So that's an example where you'd want to do something like that.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Cool. So let's make another circle in a different color. Okay. So I'm going to just make another circle. Okay. And I'm just going to grab my paint bucket tool on the left-hand side, change the color. Okay. Now then, let's have a look at what happens when we overlap shapes that are different colors. Okay. So if I take this shape and overlap it there, click away. Now then, if I move that shape now, it actually takes a bite out of the shape underneath.
That's what it was doing to me last night, and last weekend. It was driving me insane.
Yeah. Now, it can drive you insane because that could be not what you're trying to create at all. But imagine that you were trying to make a logo for a bike shop. Yeah. And you wanted to make a cool kind of cog character.
This is why we've got him on, everyone. This is why we've got him on.
So you can see, if I was trying to draw this cog, you know, this is messy. Because I'm turning a bear's head into a cog here. So it's
no, but we get the principle.
Yeah. Okay, the top is a disaster.
Crap.
Oh, glwydd bach. Right. So, oh, dear me. It started quite well at the bottom. Knackedy. Look at that.
Not going to your bike shop.
No. You wouldn't want to eat that Oreo, would you? Anyway, you get the idea. So sometimes merge drawing mode, and this is on the slides. Don't go back to the slides now, but on the slides, I've put down the merge drawing mode is best used for creating single complex drawings. Okay, so if you want to create quite a complicated single shape, then merge draw mode is good. And then also my final bullet point on that slide is when you're feeling creative and want to experiment. Okay, if you just want to mess around and see what you can make, I would suggest that you use merge drawing mode because you can make some really fun stuff. Okay,
and actually, remember, it takes a bite once you've clicked off, doesn't it?
Yeah, and remember as well, all of those stuff we were doing last week. With the selection tool, so dragging points, making curves, all of those are still possible within these shapes that you've created. Okay. So, you know, you can create some really wacky, creative shapes that you just wouldn't be able to make otherwise, you know? Whether you'd want to is another thing, but, you know. Okay, so anyway, none of that looked like a beach ball. So I'm going to look at one more thing on how lines behave with shapes with merge drawing mode. Okay, so I'm going to go back, make my perfect circle again. Okay, now then, lines. Now then, I really like this. So if you grab your line tool, okay, on the left-hand side, and I'm going to just draw.
And you're still in merge mode now.
Yeah, I'm still in merge mode. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just going to draw a line kind of bisecting the ball. All right. And then I'm going to draw another line bisecting the ball in the other direction.
You're into bisecting balls, aren't you?
I am. And I don't think you should judge me on that, to be honest. Okay. Now then, Animate does something that no other drawing tool does in merge drawing mode, because what happens now is if I go to the selection tool, you know that bit of the line that's kind of overhanging. If I click on just that piece and hit backspace, it'll get rid of it. Okay, so you don't have to be tidy with your lines. You can just kind of drag a line however you want, and then you can tidy up the overhanging lines as you want. Now then, this shape in the middle here, if I go right to that center point, I could actually kind of move that center point around, and the ends of each line are still kind of tagged onto the sides of the circle.
Okay, run me through that again. Do I have to click something in particular for that?
No, so you know how when we were turning a rectangle into a mountain, and you would just go to the corner of the rectangle and grab it. So if you go into that center there, your mouse pointer turns into the angle, and then you can just move that about. And then if you remember how we curved lines, I can also just curve these lines.
Gotcha.
Okay. Next, I want to color those segments separately. So I'm just going to go and pick a color from the color picker, grab my paint bucket, fill it in.
Oh. Color buckets. Yeah, gotcha.
So again, if you're going to try and draw this any other way with those kind of curves in that ball, I don't even know how I'd start trying to do that. On other apps.
That'd be a task, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I'm no, graphic designer, but that would be difficult to do. I don't know how I do that as easily as that.
Yeah.
Maybe you've noticed that I haven't got a stroke on the outside of my shape.
But the lines
have a stroke in the middle. I can just click those lines and hit backspace.
Yeah, I mean,
lines have served their purpose.
I suppose we could have chosen not to have a stroke at the start, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But they okay, so you're saying that it helps overall. Yeah, okay.
All right.
In the planning stage. Yeah, nice. I'm enjoying it.
So, as I was saying, merge mode, even though it's, as you were saying at the beginning, you were saying, oh, we just don't use that then, is it? But I think if you say that, then, you're doing yourself out of a lot of fun, really, because there's a lot of fun to be had with drawing with merge mode. Okay.
Well, they've improved for that right now, aren't we?
Yeah. I can make a little character out of this. Look, could just.
Wasted talent.
Wasted, yeah. Right. You make a little pull the little mouth in there.
Yeah.
And then
Little eye.
yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Get rid of that line there. Get rid of that line there. Hours of fun.
Right.
Okay. So there's my beach ball, which I then wrecked and turned into a character. Anyway.
But I mean, the basic principles there are basically how you create everything that's going to appear on your animation timeline.
Yeah. And you know, especially when you think as well, you know, creating a logo, for example, you know, that kind of shape, when you see that kind of shape in a logo, and you go, oh, well, that's cool. How do they make that? You know? And we just kind of happened across it just by messing around with merge drawing mode. And if I just undo it, this is obviously Camp Cymru. You know, maybe I want to turn this into some kind of C shape, you know, for my Camp Cymru logo. Oh, I'm messing stuff up now. And you know, some things will work and some things won't, you know, and that's fine, isn't it?
So I mean, for students, you really want to be doing a lesson where they just
mess about with merge.
This about, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And give them different things that they can create, because once they've messed around with this for an hour, then they can basically create anything they like, don't they?
Exactly. Right. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my beach ball. There it is. Fine. So there's my beach ball, and I'm gonna I'm gonna try and use that later on, maybe in the animation. So I'm gonna not wreck it anymore. So I'm just gonna back out. Okay. So I'm on my beach ball symbol, and I'm gonna back out here. Takes me back to my main scene again, which is here. Okay. So now then, we are going to look now at object drawing mode. Okay. So I'm going to make a new scene. Sorry, not a new scene. I'm going to make a new object. So I'm going to go again to insert. Oh, not object. Sorry,
new
guys.
Symbol. Come on.
Yeah,
stay with us. Stay with us, Meredith. We need you.
It's the third word that I tried. Okay. Make a new symbol. Right then. I'm going to call this tree.
I'm blanking at the moment for how you drag something from your symbols into your main timeline.
Oh, yeah, you just literally do that. Yeah. So I'm going to call this tree 1 because there's going to be more than one. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. Now then, this time I am going to use object drawing mode because I'm going to be creating a tree, you know, like the green, you know, leafy bit at the top. And then what do we call that? The canopy, I think. And then obviously I'm going to have the trunk. Now, if I did that in merge drawing mode, if I wanted to move the trunk, what would it do to the canopy?
It would take it with it.
Well, it would take a bite out of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. And that's where people get frustrated. So, you know, if you're overlapping stuff, you need to know if you ever think you're gonna want to move something, it's better to be using object drawing mode. Okay, so let's make a tree. So I'm gonna use a rectangle tool, but you could use the circle tool. I'm gonna start off with a canopy. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a tree green, and I'm just gonna make a rectangle here. Okay. And now I'm just going to use my selection tool, and I want to turn this into a tree canopy. So to do that, I'm just going to pull these edges about a bit. I try to get it away from a rectangle as soon as possible, because then you can start seeing where things are going to go. Okay. Are you with me? Are you following?
I am. I'm testing out a different route, actually, but yeah.
Cool. And now I'm just going to start curving these edges.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's why that's annoying. Gotcha. Keep going.
Okay. Did you try it on Did you try it on merge drawing mode? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what? So have I.
Yeah, I know. I know. Gutted.
Yeah. And once you've done that, right, there's no going back. No, because think of it, it's like drawing on your whiteboard with a marker pen and then deciding to use acetate sheets for the rest of it. But that bit you've done in marker pen is always going to be on the board in marker pen.
Right.
It's the best kind of metaphor. No, whatever the word is. It's the best. What's the word?
Analogy?
Yes, analogy. It's the best analogy I can think of is that. It's once it's on your board in pen, then it's going to be on your board in pen unless you delete it. Yeah. So before drawing the tree, Dere man Meredith, come on. I'm going to switch object drawing mode on.
Okay. Right. I mean, I'm loving doing this with the oval tool actually. Yeah,
cool. Yeah. You can. That's what I really like about the selection tool is that you can turn the most boring rectangle or square into an interesting shape. And then remember as well, option clicking or alt clicking on a PC adds a point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That option click, right, adds a point.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Let me play around with that. I'm not sure I've got that. Yeah. That's in which tool?
In the selection tool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got to make sure that I'm not in the free transform tool.
Yeah. No, the only time you want to use the free transform tool is if you are scaling, rotating, or repositioning. So free transform tool is for moving it around, or changing the size, or if you want to rotate it. If you want to make cool stuff, you want to be using the selection tool.
That's not working for me right now.
What isn't?
The option alt click is duplicating it.
No. Yeah, so you need to be on the line as if you're gonna curve the line.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
That is a bit of a faff.
Yeah,
I think
you do need you probably need a good few sessions messing about, don't you?
Yeah, but fortunately, drawing a tree isn't a waste of time when you're making a Camp Cymru animation.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And if the tree is a bit rubbish, then that isn't the end of the world either. So this is the place where they can kind of make their mistakes, really. Okay, so there's my canopy. So let's make a trunk now, okay? So I'm going to go back to the rectangle tool, and I'm going to find a trunk brown. Now, I'm going to overlap this rectangle onto my tree. Now, if I was in merge drawing mode and I moved that, it would take a big bite out of my green canopy. Yeah. So you can see now why we want to be using object drawing mode to make this tree. Okay. So I'm again going to grab the selection tool. And again, I'm just going to grab these points.
There must be a way to sort out the order as well, mustn't there?
Yeah, you can just do right click, arrange.
Gotcha, yeah.
Okay. Or it's control up and down on a PC or command up and down on a Mac.
Oh, okay. Nice.
When I'm giving these shortcuts, Dom, I'll nearly always give them as PC shortcuts.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Which is annoying for you. But
no, that's cool.
I'm just used to it in class because I use my Mac in class, but the kids are on PCs.
Yeah. I mean, I must say, my tree is looking way better than yours.
Well,
people have come to expect that, I think, from these sessions. You absolutely showed me up with your express drawings last week. I was quite gutted about that.
Well, to be fair, you haven't got that much experience of using Express, have you? So.
The very reason I didn't sleep for a week. Yeah, but I've absolutely aced you here.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I mean, I haven't got the branches. I mean, your trunk is looking pretty good.
You haven't got branches?
Nah, because mine's a full canopy because it's in summer. Because why
What have
else
you
do you
got?
go camping in Wales in
What are
the
you
summer?
What are you proud of? You made a green cloud.
Mine just looks like the kind of thing that I see on children's television all the time. Yours looks like something out of a horror movie.
Oh, okay. I don't think that was called for.
I do apologize. That did go a bit far.
All right. Well, I better next level it then. All right. So for the first time today, we're going to look at the fluid brush tool. Okay. Now, when you open up your fluid brush tool on the left-hand side here, okay, you got two brush tools. You got a classic brush tool, which basically is pants, don't bother with it. And then you got the fluid brush tool. Over on the right-hand side, you will see all of these fun-looking toggles, okay? So you can see the ones that I've maxed out. I've maxed out taper. That's probably the most important one. And also the stabilizer, curve, smoothing, roundness, all these. So what happens then is if I draw something quickly, it just makes a really cool looking shape, doesn't it?
So
you
see the stabilizer, you've whacked up curve smoothing.
Yeah, I think I just whacked them all up, to be honest, apart from the size. Yeah. I kept the size small. But okay. So let me just get rid of those. There we go. So I'm gonna change to a lighter shade of brown.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm gonna zoom in on my sorry, I got two different types of zoom going on here because I've got my zoom that I use for my screen sharing and then zooming within Animate. So zooming within Animate, you need control and roll the mouse wheel or command with the mouse wheel for you, Dom.
Yeah.
Okay, so within there now, I'm just gonna maybe start making up a days. Go to my fluid brush tool and start making some knots.
Oh yeah. I mean, sorry, not to take away from what you're doing here, but is this you? Would you do this with students because you want them to get sort of bang into it, or you think this would actually get them more marks?
I think it's a bit of both. The main reason is I think they'll enjoy it, but I do think that definitely these little extras are certainly going to add again to that professionalism that gets mentioned in the mark scheme again.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the things we're doing, putting some stripes on a tree trunk isn't the hardest, is it? But
no one.
I think it has a real effect on that.
There you go, yeah. Nice.
Now then, the reason as well that it's worth spending time on your symbols is that we can recycle these. Okay, can you go over to my slides for a second, Dom, please?
You're there.
Okay, cool. So symbols, here we go. Okay, so all about symbols. 4 important things to remember about symbols. A symbol is just a clever box. Okay, and a symbol can contain drawings like we're doing now. It can contain text. It can contain PNGs that you've exported from other apps. And it can even contain other symbols. So I could create a leaf symbol, and then I could bring the leaf symbol in to my tree symbol. And then an instance of my leaf symbol would just live on my tree symbol. Okay, so it's a box where you can put things, and you can put other boxes inside the box if you want to. Okay, now what's really cool as well is that you can use multiple instances of a symbol. So once I've made one tree, okay, as you can see on my slide, if you need a forest, create a single tree in a symbol and reuse it. Resize, flip, rotate, add color effects as you wish. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Also, any changes that I make to my tree symbol will automatically apply to every instance that I've used of the symbol. So say that I make a forest now, and I put 10 of these trees on my stage.
Mm-hmm.
If I then go back and make any changes to my tree, say I'm going to put some apples on the tree, then that'll automatically apply that change to all of the instances that I've used that tree. So all of my 10 trees in the forest will all have those apples in.
Right.
After the fact. So symbols can be a great way of of rough sketching stuff, getting it all on your timeline, and then going back and refining it later on.
Right.
So like those little details that we just did on the tree trunk, maybe they wouldn't be doing those until later on in their animation. And then once they do that, anywhere this tree is used, those trees will all have these kind of embellishments. Okay.
And can you group them all?
Group what?
So like in your tree, for example, you're talking about making a symbol, but actually it's a collection of all sorts of different stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because I was just playing around with that and transforming mine, so it could be like small tree, big tree, flip it and all the rest of it. And so it's an easy way to create a forest. But then when you're actually moving things around, you're actually moving a group of things around, aren't you?
Yeah. Now, if you want to make a forest, you wouldn't make your forest inside the symbol. You just make one tree, okay?
Because when you drag it onto the timeline, it becomes its thing.
And then everything is self-contained. It is grouped, basically.
Gotcha.
Okay. The only time it's not, we're basically kind of inside the group right now.
Yeah.
We've stepped into the group. Once you're outside, then they're going to stay together.
Yeah.
Okay. The final thing to say then about symbols is that each symbol also has its own personal timeline. Okay. So as you can see here, this tree has got its own timeline.
Hang on, let me go back to that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want my tree to kind of wave in the wind, then I can make this tree wave in the wind. And then wherever that tree is used, that timeline will happen. Doesn't matter what else is going on. This tree, this tree's timeline will also run. But that's for next session. Okay, so let's make a forest now using this tree. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out of my tree symbol. Okay, so step back. And here I am. I'm on my actual scene 1. Okay. Now, you could add a layer here on your main timeline, but I'm not going to do that. Because, remember, this is your timeline for your whole animation, your whole massive animation. Okay. This backdrop that I've drawn is in my library as backdrop scene 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so rather than adding the tree to my main timeline, okay, I'm just going to add it to my backdrop instead. Does that make sense?
Think so. Why would that happen?
Because for my main timeline, I'm going to have 6 scenes. And do I really want a trees layer that I'm only using in scene 1 and that I can see that layer for the whole rest of my animation? Okay. It just makes things messy. Okay. Are the trees in the background? Yes. Okay. So basically, here's my rule for whether you should put something on the main timeline or if you should put it within a symbol timeline. If something is, we're going to have a main character in this, yeah? We have to create a main character. If something is in front of the main character or the main character interacts with it, then it's going to have to go on the main timeline on its own layer. Okay? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Because I've got my backdrop here, and this is my main timeline, and we will be at some point adding a layer above this for my character. Okay? So obviously, if anything needs to be in front of my character, it has to be on a layer above this, so it can't go on this layer. Okay?
Okay.
So, if it's in the background, I'm just going to delete that layer now, because I'll be really confused why I've got a character layer. So if it's in the background, then let's just put it on the backdrop symbol that I've created. Okay, so over in my library, I've got a backdrop scene 1 symbol. So I'm just going to double click on that, and here it is. Okay, I've opened up my backdrop scene 1. Have you done the same thing?
I couldn't find my old project, so no, but I'm with you on this.
Your dog ate your homework, right? Okay. So I'm inside a symbol right now. I'm inside this backdrop scene 1 symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in the tree 1 symbol from the library. So I'm just going to grab this here. I'm going to drag it and place it. Oh, hang on. Now then, we have got layers here. Okay. So I've got sky, mountain, hills.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you could add another layer. Okay. So I've got hills here. So I might just add a layer in front of that. Trees. Okay.
Right.
I've got a new trees layer here, and I'm going to drag in my tree, and there it is. Okay. And now I'm going to resize it. There. Brilliant. Then I'm going to do Command D on a Mac or Control D on a PC for duplicate.
Right. So this is you're actually putting a symbol
inside the symbol.
Inside the symbol. Right.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
you.
Okay. And now you can see why it was worth us spending a bit of time making the tree look nice, because, you know, we're getting value out of it because we're using a ton of them.
Right.
Okay. Just to change things up a bit, you can also, if I click on one of these, if I right click, transform, I can flip that horizontally.
Yeah. Just to give a bit of variety.
Yeah. Although, you know, you don't want the eye to kind of go, oh, well, they're all clones of the same tree.
Yeah.
That's why I'd probably make more than one tree. You know, if I made 2 trees.
Yeah.
I made
get away with that.
I made one tree like this and then made like a Christmas tree, you know, type of thing, and then mixed them up together. Then, and then another thing to kind of create a bit of depth. Okay. Let's make this tree, because it's behind these two, let's kind of make it a bit darker. Okay. So to do that, I'm just going to click on this tree. I'm going to go up to my properties tab here. And I can go down to color effects, brightness, just bring the brightness down.
Yeah. You start tweaking them.
Yeah. And again, it's just making them look like they're not the same tree duplicated. You can even add a tint. You can add like add a color tint to them, you know.
That's what you ask for in the hairdressers, isn't it? Was it once a month, every 3 weeks?
Yes, for my blue rinse. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that tint doesn't do anything at all. So don't bother with that, guys.
No, but you can definitely see that on the right-hand side. It works.
Yeah. Okay. Now then, of course, if I've done this on my backdrop scene 1 symbol, if I step back out to my main scene, all those trees are there.
Because you modified that symbol.
Because I modified the symbol. So I've added symbols to a symbol, but because that symbol's out here on my timeline, all those trees are there.
Got you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So when you think of it, you know, we've still only got 3 symbols in here. One of them's a beach ball that I haven't used yet. And we got quite a complicated backdrop there now. Okay. And what I did was I just kind of made basic shapes on the backdrop scene 1. You know, I made my I made the sky, mountain, hills, and then nothing much else. And then I've got my trees on another symbol that I've just brought in.
Yeah.
So let's do another one, a quick one. I know we're short on time, maybe, but this is going to be a nice one. Okay. So let's make some clouds and animate them across the sky. Let's get stuff moving. Okay. So I'm going to make a new symbol.
Is this to demonstrate? This is to demonstrate how to just put basic movements in. So why wouldn't you do that with trees now?
Because to move these trees, we're going to be using the asset warp tool, which isn't the most basic kind of animation, you know. Okay. So we'll start off with some more simple animation. Yeah, okay, so let's go to insert, new symbol. Just going to call this cloud 1. I want to call it cloud because that, you know, that kind of limits me to never making another cloud again. And, you know. Okay, so white on white is a bit tricky. So I'm just going to make a grey cloud. Okay. Okay.
There must be a way to change the background.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. But I don't know. So let's just move on from that. So,
I'm trying on stage. If you go into your properties and switch your stage.
Is it?
Yeah.
Properties, stage. There we go. You can change it there. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's my finest hour.
That was very, you found that really quickly as well. Right. Okay.
Well, it's quite intuitive once you get going, actually.
Yeah.
You just
Right.
got to get your head round symbols and yeah, I'm still processing. Carry on.
Okay. There was a good sentence in there somewhere.
It was.
Right.
It was a great starter.
I'm going to grab my fluid brush tool. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That we use to make the knots and the whorls on the tree. And I'm going to go for a light gray. And I'm still, object drawing mode is on. Okay.
Right.
Less important here, really, because we're just making one cloud. You could get away with either drawing mode here. But, okay. And I love the fluid brush tool with those toggles up high because it doesn't look like I'm drawing this with a mouse. You know, it looks like I've used a graphics tab or something.
It's a bit like Fresco, I think. It's nice.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to use my paint bucket and I'm going to fill that in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, if I didn't like a bit of it, I could use the selection tool and I could pull it about a bit and, all of that. So I'm not going to do that now because you've all seen that plenty of times. Okay. So there's my cloud. So I'm going to go back out. Okay. Now, again, you could add your cloud onto your main timeline, but, do you want to be filling up your main timeline with the clouds for scene 1? No, you don't. Okay. So it's much neater for me to animate my clouds within the scene 1 symbol. Okay. Now, to preempt the question, I'm using scene 1 for, if you remember, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what I suggest to my students is when you're animating within the symbol, always animate longer than you think. Yeah? Because you don't want a cloud to just randomly disappear or glitch off, on 4.5 seconds or something like that. Because it's like video editing, isn't it? When you're video editing, if you've got a 5-second clip, you don't want to use all 5 seconds of it. You want to cut a bit off the beginning, a bit off the end. Well, or certainly off the end anyway. Okay, so back in the library, I'm going to step into my backdrop scene 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Now then, clouds. So I'm going to add a cloud layer. And do you know what? I'm going to put it between the sky and the mountain because maybe I'll have one cloud kind of low hanging going behind the mountain, perhaps. Okay. So I'm going to click there. Put that layer between, it wasn't the right place. There, between the sky and the mountain. And I'm going to just call that clouds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, I'm on the cloud layer. I'm going to drag my cloud symbol in. There it is. It is massive. I'm going to use the free transform tool. Just going to resize it down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, let's actually create a bit of time within this symbol. Because at the moment, this symbol is just a static image. It's just one frame long, as you can see here. Yeah, we've just got one frame. There's no
Where are
time.
your trees? You just need to scroll down to see your trees.
Oh, you know what? I can, this above where it says timeline output, I can just drag that up and then you'll be able to see all of my layers. I'm doing this on my laptop, which does have a smaller screen, obviously, than the PCs. So it tends to be a bit more cramped on my screen than it is with the kids. Okay, so let's animate this. Now, remember that out on the main stage, it's using 5 seconds of it. But you'd be a madman to just animate this for 5 seconds. It's just asking for problems. So I'm going to just animate it for 6 seconds because I know then that I've definitely got enough. Okay? So I'm just going to drag on 6 seconds here. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm just dragging from the top layer down all the way like that. Okay? And I'm going to add frames. So I'm going to insert frames. So I've got my insert frame icon there. And there we go. I've inserted the frames. People that are maybe watching this session and didn't watch last session, where have you been? And but I did in the last session. It's worth reminding that I did add these to my toolbar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that, Dom. So to add that to your toolbar, I clicked on the hamburger menu. I went to customize timeline tools, and then I just clicked on all three of these, because you're going to do a lot of adding keyframes, a lot of inserting blank keyframes, and a lot of inserting frames. So right clicking to do that every time is a madness, in my opinion. Okay. So everything is staying still apart from the clouds so far. Okay. So we need to do something cool with the clouds. We need to add some keyframes. So I'm on my clouds layer. I'm going to go to the end, the very end here, click there, and I'm going to add a keyframe.
What's the difference between a frame and a keyframe?
Oh, hang on. I think I need to do the tween first. So frames are just still, and keyframes are when you want to start and an end point. Okay. So, and then a tween is when you want the app to take you from a start point to an end point in a clever way. So, for example, if I want to set my start point, the cloud is at the left. My end point is the cloud is at the right. Then a tween is the app deciding, well, the best way to go from there to there is for it to move.
Yeah.
If something's getting bigger, then the best way for it to get from there to there is for it to, gradually get bigger or to gradually rotate, that kind of thing. Okay. So I'm going to add my tween in. So to add a tween, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a classic tween. Now you could also use a motion tween here.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the difference there?
To be honest, a motion tween is actually a bit more fun because you don't have to keyframe. Motion tween adds the keyframes in
for you.
Yeah, so let's do that then. Okay.
That's
so
what I did and put it in, and I was like, look at me.
A motion tween. Okay. And then you can then just go to the end point and use your free transform tool and move it. Okay. And it automatically adds a keyframe in for you. Okay, so motion tweens are great, and then you can see here you can
adjust it.
Yeah, you need to be on the selection tool. Sorry, and then no, you don't.
And then you can make it bob up and down, and
mine's not doing it though. Oh, well, there we are.
Bully for you. Doing it to the whole line, but still doing it.
Yeah, I forgot how to do that.
There's
a way of
you need to be in the selection tool rather than the free transform.
Yeah, not doing it for me. Oh, there we are. Yeah, there we are. It is now. Yeah, and it should as well give you. Yeah. Okay, so I'll do that. I'll do a little bit of a bow to it there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now if I hit play, it's gonna my cloud's gonna scud across the sky like that.
Very nice.
Now, obviously, I've made this 6 seconds long instead of 5, which is good because if you made it the exact, you might have your cloud just kind of skidding to a halt and staying still for the last bit or something and look a bit weird.
Yeah.
No?
I suppose you can mitigate that by having it animate off the screen slightly as well.
Yeah. So now if I step out, so that's interesting. So if I look at my position for the cloud right at the end is that it is kind of half hanging off the side, but I know that these trees are kind of cropped off about here out on the stage. So if I step back out, crop this, press play. There we are. I've got my cloud moving.
Yeah, nice.
Within it. And as you can see, out on our main timeline, we've still just got this one neat backdrops layer. I've seen students not do it this way, and within their first scene, they got about 10 layers out on their main timeline. And then, your timeline needs to be about this tall for you to see what's going on. Then you can't actually see your stage.
Right.
So that's why I like doing more animating within the symbol and then just dropping the symbol onto a backdrop layer. And it all just goes on inside the box.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the classic student mistake right now. And now that we've only got a few things in there, it's not really bothering me. But I can imagine once this gets going, it's going to get a bit crowded, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And, maybe you want 3 clouds. So they can have a layer each,
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want that out on your main timeline. It's going to be congested. So what do you want to do, Dom? Do we want to
I want to invite some comments from people who were watching to say, you did a bloody good job there. That was really nice, because you have done a very good job. So that would be really cool, because Meredith sometimes gets a bit lonely.
I do.
And he often rings me at inappropriate times of the night and says, I don't know whether it's worth carrying on with this.
Is anybody watching this rubbish? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that I feel like that's a really, I really enjoyed this session. Not that I haven't enjoyed others, but I really enjoyed this because you can kind of see, wow, that's where it's going to start coming together. Oh, look at this, Miss Hawkins. I knew she wouldn't let us down. Some great tips I wouldn't have thought of. Down, says Mr. Russell. Thanks for coming across, Mr. Russell. I knew you have an absolute whale of a time in MS Teams before, and you couldn't get in full of our money. Is there anything before we sign off? Maybe thanks, Mr. Joes. Maybe you can talk about saving and things like that. Is there anything we need to think about there?
No. So this now, it's just a matter of file, save all, and there it is. It's saved. So we're fine in terms of saving. The only other thing I was gonna do, which is a bit fun, is we were looking at the brightness of the trees. When you're doing clouds, especially, what's really nice is to add the alpha color effect. Alpha is just opacity. I wish they just call it opacity.
Yeah, bloody no.
People know what opacity means.
Wouldn't you think that would be standard across all Adobe tools?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Hey, Helen, Anthony says hello. There we go. That's what the comments for as well. Build a community.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So, it's nice to play with things like opacity on clouds, especially. I had a quick look at thinking, like, how would I animate the trees, and I didn't feel like I knew how to do that. No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, do you want me to do that now? If it's longer than 5 minutes, then no. Well, actually, give us a comment if you fancy that. If you fancy sticking around for another 5 minutes, say yeah in the chat. Is it about 5 minutes? Yeah, ish. What do you think? Yeah, I'll do it. I don't know. I know, but I mean, I wonder if people are like burnt out and they are like, that's enough for this week. Do let us know, because we're doing it for you at the end of the day. Yeah. So do let us know. Do you want us to animate the tree? Get a chant going. Move the tree. Move. Drain the swamp. Go on then, says Mr. Jones. Anthony says yes. Come on, let's do it. Animate that tree and make it less than 5 minutes. Come on. All right, boosh. Right then, let's go. So I'm in my tree. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step into my tree symbol. There it is. I'm in my tree. Yeah, I wish I was. Right. So remember this guy? Right. So I need to go back here. Yeah. Symbols, tree. Right. Got you. Yeah. Oh, then. Some high risk gear, because sometimes this breaks. Okay. We're going to use the puppet warp tool. Okay. So on the left-hand side, you should have a push pin icon. The asset warp tool. Puppet warp tool is in Illustrator. Sorry. You'd think they'd use the same name. When That's the dark animation you're creating in your own time, isn't it? Sorry. So the asset warp tool. Have you got that as standard? I have. Yeah. Great. If there is something that isn't, then you've got these 3 dots and you've got extra stuff in here. When we'll be using the bone tool in a few sessions' time, it's hidden away in there. Okay. Mr. Jones. Oh, yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, right. You're getting away from it. Sorry. This is welcome to education in this room, I tell you. Right, here we go. So I got my my asset warp tool. This is really fun. I love this. Right. So I'm going to click on the bottom of the trunk, the bonk gif in Welsh. Thought you liked that.
enough.
Okay.
Oh.
And then it puts
You
this
look
mesh
fine
over it.
there.
And then I'm going to put another one about halfway up on the top of the bonk gif. And I'm going to put another one on the actual top of the tree itself. Okay.
Right, that didn't do it on mine.
Try it again.
Hang on a minute. Let me go back. Right. So just anywhere on the bottom?
Yeah, because the bottom's not going to move anyway.
It's kind of selected things, but it doesn't look
Click
like
again. Click again.
Oh, hello.
It gives you a bit of an 80s sci-fi movie mesh over it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've just done.
And then you drag that kind of.
Yeah, click. It's basically adding joints and bones, So I'm basically kind of making a kind of an elbow there.
Oh, okay.
And then at the top, because what's going to happen here is it's just going to bend over in the wind a bit. It's going to just wave over in the wind. So obviously this bit isn't going to move much in the wind because that's the trunk. Anyway, come on. Okay. Right. Are you ready?
I think so. I just clicked in random places, to be fair.
Right. Well,
Can you stop it to say that's enough now?
Just stop clicking.
Well, I have, but the tool's still on.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, right.
Okay. So I'm just going to zoom in on my timeline because I'm going to animate this over, let's say, 2 seconds. Okay. So I'm just going to zoom in so that I can see 2 seconds. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on 2 seconds, I'm going to add a keyframe. Okay. So I'm going to insert a keyframe in there.
I just dragged across and it did it automatically.
Oh, there's always one in there. Right. Good. Did you really? Yeah. Did you just drag?
So yeah, it's got a keyframe in.
All right. Let's see. We'll see when it all falls apart now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right.
Not looking good, actually.
I
can't see anything on the screen.
Stop talking. Right. So now I'm going to put a tween in here. Okay. So basically tells us, right, we want you to kind of take us from A to B and then to C and then to D. Okay. So I'm going to right click, create a classic tween. Okay. Are you with me at all or shall I just go?
Yeah, my tree's been chopped off somehow. Okay.
Right. So I'm going to add the keyframe in kind of on 3/4 of a second. So I'm basically kind of going to go in a quarter of the way through this purple block. So I'm going about here. I'm going to add the keyframe. And then I'm going to add another one about 3/4 of the way through the block. Okay. So I've got kind of start point, middle point A, middle point B, end point. Now, if we're going to want our animation to loop, we want our end point and our start point to be identical because then you don't get that kind of glitch in the loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm going to do is on the first middle keyframe, okay, so it's the second keyframe that I've got, I'm just going to grab this bone. So I'm not grabbing the point, the actual push pin. I'm going to grab the bone and I'm going to bend the top of the tree over to the right.
Okay.
You said that okay in a really kind of depressive way there. What's going on?
No, all good.
And then I'm going to go to my next keyframe and I'm going to grab that bone and I'm going to push it over the other way a little bit.
That's why you put a bow. That's why you put a click at the top of the trunk.
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, it just bends the whole thing over, which is, yeah. So if you want to see that looping, okay, you turn on your loop button here, and it'll always really unhelpfully loop the tiniest, most pointless section of your animation ever. So you need to grab this blue boyo here and just loop it for the actual length of your symbol. And now I'm going to press play, and look at that.
Madness.
Now that's quite subtle, right? That's not an insane, but if we now, obviously, what's going to happen if we step out
and then go back and play
on the main stage? If I play my main, I got this loop thing on now. Turn your loop off. Okay, there we go.
Oh, look at that.
and it's going to hit 5 seconds and stop.
Right.
If I go into my backdrop symbol, backdrop scene 1, press play, it'll do it for 6 seconds and stop.
Right. I'm suddenly understanding why mine wasn't working.
And again, we've done that to one tree. And now anywhere in this entire project, we've used that tree, it's going to animate for us automatically.
Oh, I'm excited now. And now I've realized what wasn't working. I'm more excited.
Looks really cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You're laughing at
wobbly heads. They just look like wobbly heads.
Yeah. You know.
It's cool, though, isn't it? I mean, that would blow kids' minds, that. It was blowing mine.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's, when you think about it, that wasn't too hard, is it?
It definitely what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this video back and do that really step by step, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, one thing to watch, okay? And I'll tell everyone this. Please heed this warning, okay? You have to add your asset warp pins in on the first keyframe before you add any other frames and before you add your tween, okay? And once you have added in the other keyframes and the tween, you cannot add any more pins to your animation or it will just break, okay? Right. If for example, if I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go to this keyframe and I want to add another push pin in here somewhere, okay? Because that pin doesn't exist on the other keyframes, Animate will just kind of refuse to play. It'll go, no, sorry, this is impossible. And it just won't animate it at all. Right. So you have to have your pins in the perfect place on the first frame before you add in that last keyframe and before you add in the frames and the tween. Okay?
Right.
If you're having problems with the asset warp tool, it's usually because some people will add in the keyframes and do the tween and then think, right, let's put the pins in. Okay, that'll break it. It'll start throwing up messages saying things like you need to create a render of the tween 1, tween 2, something like that, and you'll need to click OK, and people kind of go, ooh, okay, but it won't work. Okay, so as long you draw your asset on just the single frame at the beginning of the symbol, and then the first thing you do is you add the pins in, then you add the keyframes and the tween, and then it'll behave. And remember, once you've added keyframes and the tween, you can't add any more pins, okay? Or it'll break.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was that is definitely next level. That is definitely next level. I thought the clouds were easy. That's definitely more involved.
Well, asset warp tool, I had penned down for an entire session. So,
Right. Oh, well, that's good. It gives people a flavor of what we're doing. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. It's given us a flavor. And if you found that mind-blowing, the asset warp tool, then we will look at it slower when we'll be making a campfire. That's going to be fun.
Oh, crikey. Right. Yeah. Good stuff, man. I really enjoyed that. That was ace.
Cool. I'm glad because you're paying.
Yeah. Well done. You got some great stuff. Great job, says Dewi. Is it Dewi or Dewey? It's Dewi.
Dewi. It's Dewi, man. Lincoln neck.
And then Helen says, great, thanks both. Any more thanks before we get off and get back to normal lives where things don't animate?
Please remember to sign up because we've got those goodies that I was talking about at the beginning of the session, and Dom will send those out to everyone on the list. So please, because I never type stuff up, and I have. So please sign up and get that stuff.
Yeah, and one last thing before you go, please do spread it with other teachers. Spread it like COVID. Let's get it out there because we let's get as many people as possible. Maybe not the best reference there, but hey, you know what I'm trying to say. And also I'm going to email you about an after school club for years 7 to 10 maybe. We've sort of been kicking that around. Should we do an after school club for years 7 to 10 so that they can be playing around with stuff so that by the time they get to GCSE, they don't have to be messing around with like learning tools and stuff like that. So I'm going to email people about that. Cool. Would appreciate stuff. Is there a session next week in half term or a week off? $100 question. $100 question? $100 million question.
I'm happy to do one. So I don't know if you want to check with the guys whether they want to do it or not. I'm as you know, I'm busy in the evenings playing in a show.
All right, big boy.
It might be I'm playing the drums in a show, don't you know? So I think if we were going to do it, it might be, well, I suppose 3 o'clock or something would be fine. If we are going to do it. Or, you know,
I'll email everyone about that and see what they say.
Yeah, do people want one? Do they want a break? Do they want more? You know, do we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, we could just do a couple more, couldn't we?
Do you want to? No, it's probably better not to do a monster one, is it? You know.
No, I think so. I think an hour is enough.
Yeah, we could do a couple. You know, in half term, push through some stuff.
Let us know in the comments if you're still here. There are people still here. Otherwise, yeah, maybe we'll. I'll email people and see what they say.
Yeah.
All right. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch I ti, Dom. Diolch yn fawr.
Why didn't you use the more polite version?
Diolch I chi, Mr. Dom.
There we go. There we go. Good man. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch up with you on email. Good stuff. And there we go. I'm off to fix a door.